It is time for another episode of Life Stories Unscripted podcast. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Viviane, and I'm a doula, breastfeeding specialist, and a mama coach. And I talk about everything related to preconception, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and everything in between. So if you're a parent or you're trying to be one, this is the podcast for you, so stay tuned. Today, I'm talking to Ifalase McGowan from Great Britain, who is an EFT practitioner, amongst other things, and who helps women who go through immense life changes and experience anxiety to reduce it and release it. So that's what we're going to tap on today. Stay tuned. If you like this podcast and you enjoy it, please hit the subscribe button now so me and you can share the word on awareness together. Last but not least, this podcast is sponsored by Perfecta Placenta, located in Beverly Hills, which is a placenta preserving company. So if you would like your miracle organ to be preserved and get a stretch mark cream and a diaper bag as a gift from me, you'd use my promo code DoulaViviane. And for more information, I can be reached either via Facebook or LinkedIn under my name, Viviane Shima, or via my email address, which is birthforviviane@gmail.com. I'm excited to hear from you. Without any further ado, let's talk to Ifalase. Enjoy. Hi, Ifalase. I'm so excited to talk to you today. It's such a pleasure to have you and reconnecting with you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So, Ifalase, I just mentioned that you're an EFT practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say much more. So why don't you tell us what that means, what EFT is, and what led you to become an EFT practitioner, and who do you work with?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's a modality that I found on my journey to manage my anxiety, and not just manage it, but be able to actually reduce it, and in some cases completely transform my thinking patterns and my way of life to just be free of anxiety, which is amazing. So what EFT actually is tapping, which some people might have heard of, might be more common. And if you've experienced any kind of acupuncture or meridian work, or even any kind of stress relief, is just about calming the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's a nerve that runs all the way through your body, all the way down. And by tapping on certain points on your body, you're tapping into that system and soothing it. And so EFT is as simple as that, tapping on parts of your body. So the side of the hand is very, very common. And then even going through points on your face and then your upper body to calm yourself down. I'm also a coach and an NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic program, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming. And that is where you're looking at the language that we're using that then is informing what kind of beliefs that you might have. And so with that combined with EFT, we link in the words. So EFT encapsulates that part of NLP where it takes the words and then you tap. Hold on, let me say that again. So it takes you would concentrate on an area where you've got a phobia or a negative experience or a past trauma. And if you're tapping at the same time, it taps into that part of your brain that's stored that memory as a negative thing. And so you can calm that down, and that changes the way that you behave after the session. So I personally think it's miraculous. I've been managing my anxiety for longer than I even knew I had it. So when I found EFT, it was like a game changer for me. So I like to share it with other people experiencing anxiety as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for explaining. Because I myself didn't quite know. I knew EFT a little bit, but I didn't actually know that it tapped into the nervous system and that the tapping points are actually associated with that. So that's thank you for that.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Ifalase, can this help moms who have given birth?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I work with people with is women that are going through life's transitions. So whether that's someone who's struggling to go from, being, a single woman to wanting to have a baby, or going from, such a big change of going from being a single woman to having a child, that is such a big change in your life. So I love to work with people with EFT to help with their beliefs about themselves, because you go from being you independent as a couple to having to support a young baby with all of these beautiful needs, and that can be really overwhelming. So EFT is brilliant when someone's feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, depressed, and the reason why I love it is because it's not just helpful for when I'm working with clients, but it's something they can take away with them and do it themselves. So sometimes someone who's just had a baby can tap whenever they need, and that might be in the middle of the night when they can't get hold of anyone else. So I would definitely recommend it.
Wonderful.
I feel really passionate about this because my first job ever was working with children. And I've got a diary from when I was about 5 years old where I must have been younger, but I couldn't write myself, so I made my dad write my diary for me. It's obviously very simple, but I've just always had a notebook that I was always reflecting in, like working out my thoughts. And it's because I was an overthinker, and I was always a dancer, and then my grades started to slip and I blamed my dancing, so I had to give up my dancing. Let my parents hear. And just I went from being so physically active to just not having that outlet, and then my brain just didn't forgive me for that. So I had to learn, and again relearn how to manage myself, and how I could create the most positive mindset for myself, or productive, efficient mindset for myself, and make good use of all that energy that I had stored up inside me. And then I guess I was on that journey. I became a coach. I was interested in neurolinguistic programming, as I mentioned before. I trained in that. And then I remember a friend slash colleague told me that her boyfriend's mother was into tapping, and she was like, yeah, they just are tapping on their face. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, it sounds so weird. I need to know. And I think that feeling was always like, I've always remained that, like, whenever I hear anything that's like alternative, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to know what that is. So it kind of registered in my need to check thing, and then just went away. And then I found out about EFT, and I was like, okay, what's this? And I probably still didn't really understand what it was until I went along to the training. And I think just that empowerment that it gave, that I'm not broken, there isn't something wrong with me, I've just had experiences, or I have a certain wiring that makes me have great strengths but also makes me a real overthinker. Like, I explain it, me and my partner were watching Amelie, have you seen the film?
Yes,
Amelie,
the French one.
yeah, so she like basically creates absolute drama out of nothing, and I was like, that's my brain. Like, nothing will happen and my brain will go and so you need something to support you when you have that kind of brain from going into the wrong spaces, and then also just such a passion for helping people, wanting to like give back. I think that's been a kind of like blessing and a bit of a curse, because I've always been like, well, who do I support and who's best? But yeah, I just feel like everyone needs to know about it. And that what's great is that more and more scientific research is coming out on EFT as well. So it's actually proving that it's more beneficial than therapy, that it's more beneficial than, for stress and anxiety. It's actually been proved really efficient for helping with curbing cravings. I don't like to touch that area because I like my cravings, but that area is really good for other people as well. So yeah, there's so much that's coming from EFT. And I didn't really understand what I was experiencing at the time, but I would notice that some people's parents would get divorced, but I didn't notice that. They wouldn't come up to you and tell you, oh, my parents are getting divorced. They would be wetting themselves, or they would be behaving really strangely, or like really hate one person just randomly out of nowhere.
Right.
And I saw immediately, I was 18 at the time, but I immediately saw the effect that how adults feel just transfers straight to children. And that not all of us get the upbringing that maybe we all need. Like, not everyone gets like such a strong mother figure, or, you know, such a loving parental unit or family. And so if you haven't experienced that, it can mean that you're just kind of on a bit more of a wobbly foundation. But just because you had that, I just feel so passionate that it doesn't mean that, one, it needs to pass on to your kids, and it doesn't mean that you would be a bad parent, but sometimes it means that there's just certain habits that you've learned in your household that then come out in your relationship, or come out when you're raising kids, when you're really tested, when you're stressed and you're tired. Like, all of this is going to come out. So I feel really passionate that there's no bad people out there. It's just people who are traumatized. So for me, I just feel like this is a really powerful tool that we can help support everyone's mental health. And I think it's really empowering, because I've experienced therapy myself where I personally felt quite disempowered, and it was all about the story of what's happened, and I didn't really find that helpful. I'm quite a kinesthetic person, so I really feel everything. So going through and talking about all my experiences was not fun. And it would be really hard. And actually EFT just was the opposite of that. I've just never left a session without feeling empowered, without feeling more confident, without just having this inner knowing that my life would be different in a positive way as a result. And I just want to shout that from the rooftops. I feel everyone should know about it, because it's not just something you go and get done to you. It's something that you share, and then it's something that you can then help that person, or no, I don't like the word help, you support them to support themselves.
That's great, because I think a lot of people are afraid of therapy, you know. They think about it like, okay, well, if I go, I will have to retell them everything so they understand. But with tapping, you can do it at home, like you said. You can do it literally anytime with, you know, with almost everyone in the room. It doesn't matter who's in the room, because you're just tapping, and you can say it in your mind. You don't even have to say it out loud.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't have to really revisit what is causing you the emotion, but you're just focusing on the very emotion that you have right now, and you want to release it. And I think this is very freeing for people to know that they don't have to revisit it in their minds, and that they don't have to tell it anyone, like to a therapist. And I know that we talked one time, and you said that when we actually retell someone some experience that might have been unpleasant for us, or even pleasant, doesn't matter, our brain cannot tell the difference from then and now. It's always in the now. And we experience the same emotions, the same physical reactions to it. So if it's unpleasant, and if we experience anxiety or stress or anger, it comes back, and then our heartbeat and heart rate goes up, and maybe we get a headache, or however people react to these feelings. And I think this is very freeing to know we don't have to go back there. We go from here on now to the future, or, you know, just straightforward.
And that's the beauty of the coaching aspect as well, because I'm a coach. So as well as being able to release that tension from that event, you can then focus on where you want to get to. So you are absolutely right. Like, sometimes in therapy, and not for everyone, like some people have brilliant therapists, some therapy is, there's so many different types, so I can't like say all of it, but it means in EFT what we do is we gently approach a memory, and we can approach a memory even with something so simple like just referring to the memory as a color. So you can be as open as you like, you can be as closed as you like. So it's brilliant at collapsing things that are maybe embarrassing, or you've got shame around, and we just work on the emotion that's there, that's present, exactly like you said. So yeah, it just helps you really move towards what you want, because sometimes when you're experiencing so much heavy emotion, it just blocks what you actually want to do, and it just allows space to move forward. So
if you're keeping it inside, all these emotions, and you're not releasing them, or you're not talking to anyone, can that affect your children, how they behave? Can you pass it on?
There have been studies, because obviously they can't traumatize a mom and then get them to have a baby and then see what happens. Like, that's not okay. Unfortunately, they have done that on rats before, where they have, and this is awful, but they have in the past put female rats under stress, and then they would then give birth. They would take their babies away and bring them up somewhere else, and they would see that the rats whose mothers experienced that stress before they were born experienced more stress, even though they weren't brought up around them. So that was proven amongst rats. Obviously with human beings it's not the same, but again, I've also experienced very, very, very young children, like 3 weeks old, who've been taken away from their parents, showing significant amounts of trauma, and they haven't actually met their parent. They wouldn't have spent any time with their parents. So yeah, it's a sad topic, but in everything I've seen, I would agree that it does pass on, and it can come out in such small things like anxiety in the child, or thumb sucking, or like behaviors that are, I'm sure
and I would just want to elaborate, but maybe in another episode, but this goes into attachment, I would say. That when and there's been countless studies done on attachment, and it's fascinating how the human brain works, and what we do to protect ourselves. And we do anything, our brain will do anything to protect us from harm, and even though it's toxic to us. So we might have the anxiety and the stress in us from our parents, from before we were even born. So before we could physically experience it ourselves, but it's ingrained, it's wired in us, right? And our brain, this is obviously not healthy, right? But our brain doesn't know anything else. Our bodies do not know a different way of how we can deal with emotions, and that there is a contrast emotion to stress and to fear and to anxiety. So I think this is very important to talk about this, just to know, just to be aware and acknowledge the spectrum of emotions and what emotions can do, and that emotions are very, very powerful and contagious.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I think we have to be careful not to be like blaming parents, or blaming, because everyone would have taken it from another generation. There's so much that comes from where you've been brought up. Different countries have been through different amounts of stresses, but I just think that gives you a bit of a relief, because you can be like, okay, it's not all just me. I've just taken this on and thought it was a survival technique, and I can do something else. So I think I personally think my anxiety is like a gift. I think that if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't have gone on this healing path. I mean, I'm not finished, but I wouldn't have gone on this path, and so I'm grateful for it. So yeah, there's so much that I feel like I just feel like there's so much that everyone can be a little bit happier. So yeah.
And I love what you said, that you're grateful for your anxiety, because I think that feelings are here to tell us something. And our body is just trying to tell us, like, hey, this is going on, listen to me, let's figure it out. And not fight it. It's not team anxiety, team Ifalase. We're working together, because it's your body, and your body's just talking to you. And I think that's a huge asset because we can use that for our benefit, for our advantage. And we can, in the end game, we grow, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that women in particular are so powerful, and we have such an amazing like feminine power that has been like suppressed for hundreds of years in so many horrific ways. But if we've managed to get through that, then my goodness, I think we're incredible. And if we can turn it around and turn our lives into this pleasurable experience rather than a trauma or a stress, or that we can have more joy in life. And I think that when you have a child, it's so easy to just transfer all of your attention onto the child and forget you. And you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't support someone else if you're not okay. And it's a great skill that parents have, that they can just transfer all of their energy onto a child. But equally, even the best willed parent can, you know, go wrong by doing that and not looking after themselves. And I've seen people get sick and ill and have all kinds of things when that happens. And it's so natural and it's beautiful, but also to just take care of yourself. Like, just so that would be my message. Keep taking care of yourself. Find ways that you can get to the gym, or that you can take a 10-minute break, like you know, find someone that your baby will bond with, like anything. Just look after yourself. And if you can do that 30 minutes a day, I think the world would be a much more incredible place. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think more calm too.
Yes, definitely more calm.
Could you share with us something easy that we can, maybe that moms at home who are watching or listening and they'd like to try it out? Could you tell us, is there some ritual that goes with it? Do you have to say something or do something prior you do it, or you just start tapping? Like,
yeah, I would say maybe do a really quick scan of your body. So maybe should we do that together now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if you can, just like settle your body, maybe take a few deep breaths just to bring your attention inwards. And
did I close my eyes?
If you want to, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I naturally close my eyes.
We're gonna close our eyes.
So we're gonna close your eyes if you want to. Feel free to. It's not essential, but it can help to just bring your attention inwards into your body. And just notice any tension that you feel. So doing a scan from your toes, maybe wiggle your toes if it helps to bring your attention there. And just do a slow, gentle scan of each part of your body, moving upwards. Noticing any tension area. Which part of your body is shouting at you or speaking to you? So at the moment, the back of my shoulder is pretty tense on my right side, saying hello. So I'm going to choose that point. Viviane, can you feel any tension or anything in your body?
Not on my shoulder like you do, but maybe in my chest area a little bit.
Okay, and what can you feel in your chest area?
Pressure, I would say. Like, or if I imagine like some magazines or like a brick.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Well, that's really beautifully described. So what I would suggest to anyone doing this at home would just be to say, you know, out of using traffic lights, because that's really easy. So out of a traffic light, if it's really intense, maybe you'd say it's red. Then if it's kind of middle, like not too much, but it's present, maybe say amber or yellow. And then green is absolutely fine, I'm good to go. So what color would you say that feeling is, that pressure for you?
Maybe like orange or yellow,
Orange.
like you said. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, all right, well, let's do a round and I'll just show you how to bring this in gently. Okay. So tapping on the side of your hand. So if you tap just there, yeah. And we'll move through the points and I'll explain them as we go around. And for those of you at home, then invite you to use the color that's come up for you. And Viviane, will use your color.
Okay.
Yeah. So the overarching frame is that we say and acknowledge that we've got this feeling. So we start by saying, even though I feel this orange feeling.
Even though I feel this orange feeling.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Lovely, thank you. So when you're repeating, just use the words that are best for you. So if they're slightly different to the words I'm using, that's fine. So we'll do it again. Even though
I
feel this orange feeling
on my chest,
I soothe and comfort myself. Brilliant. And we'll do it one more time. Even though I have this orange feeling on my chest, that feels like bricks pushing me down. I soothe and comfort myself. And we'll just go around the points now. So if you move to the top of your head, just slightly at the back, wherever you can reach. Yeah, perfect. You're doing it perfectly. So we'll just repeat this orange feeling.
So even though I feel this orange feeling on my chest that feels like bricks, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm soothing myself.
Yeah, and that's perfect. You can just do that through the points as you go around. You don't have to say everything all together. But even simpler for everyone at home, we can just say this orange feeling.
And you're tapping in between your eyebrows?
Yeah, on the inner part of your eyebrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Say this orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
Lovely. And then if you go to the side of your eye where your eye bone is, I've got my glasses on. There we go.
Okay.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
Lovely. And then underneath your eye, this orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
Perfect. And I'm being intentionally very simple with my words here, so everyone can follow along. So we'll just say this orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
And we'll go underneath the mouth, between the mouth and the chin. This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
Yeah, perfect. So the next point is just 1 inch underneath the collarbone. So if you find your beautiful collarbones, that's right. And then go 1 inch down and into the kind of soft part. That's it. And we're just tapping that. Lovely. And then the next one is underneath the arm where the bra strap would be. I've stopped wearing bras years ago, but where your bra strap would be. Yeah, that's it. And then the final one's a little bit tricky, but it's basically on your ribs. So if you were a man, it would just be 1 inch below the nipple, but just go anywhere that you can reach on your chest. Doesn't matter how far down it is. It could be in your belly, just anywhere there.
And so, Ifalase, can I ask a question?
Of course.
So when we were tapping on our hand, the first thing, we said the whole sort of ritual sentence. Yeah. And then when we tap on the remaining parts of our body, we just say the feeling that we're feeling.
Exactly. Okay. So should we do it one time all together? And again, I'm keeping the wording really simple so everyone can do it at home. But if we were in a session, we would probably get a bit more detailed. So if we go to the side of the hand and tap there, and we repeat the even though 3 times. So even though I have this orange feeling. That's on my chest. Pushing me back. I'm okay. Even though I have this pressure on my chest. I'm okay. Even though there's this pressure on my chest. And it feels orange.
And it feels orange.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
So we go through the points now, and we go round twice, and we just repeat this orange pressure.
This orange pressure.
And it can be as simple as that. What we're trying to do is just describe the feeling as best we can. So if you're feeling anxious, you could just say, I feel anxious. Or if you're feeling tense, I feel tense. We're just acknowledging how we feel and finding that pathway in the body and in the brain, just soothing it and calming it down. So we'll repeat again now, this orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
These bricks that are pushing me down.
These bricks that are pushing me down.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
And all this pressure.
All this pressure.
That's weighing me down.
That's weighing me down.
It's on my chest.
On my chest.
I can feel it on my chest.
I can feel it on my chest.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling.
This orange feeling. This orange feeling.
Perfect. This orange feeling.
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 And that's it. You relax your hands down, take a deep breath. And we just check in on the body again. So we'll both check in. So even though we tap for your feeling, let's see if there's been any changes or if it's got any more intense in color.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
It's gone. Brilliant. Mine's gone too, which is great.
It's wonderful. It really works.
It does. So tell me how you're feeling. Is there anything there at all?
Very light. It's like someone took it off and it's not there anymore.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
It's like, I could like take a deep breath, like really like a deep breath.
Brilliant. So I was trying to be as simple as I could there. I do get a bit carried away, apologies, but you can do that without any words if you wish to, and just tune into that feeling. I would say when you're tapping, try to keep your eyes open, but other than that, that's it. Just go through those points. I can put a link to my website. I can add some points so it's easier for people to find and to take away. But as you can see, if you've got your actually, tip, if you have had a baby, Viviane, which is very important, is that you can actually repeat the words and imagine that you're tapping if you can't use your hands. And even better, what we noticed while we were doing it, I actually got some benefits from tapping along for you. So you can actually even tap on your baby if you wish to, and you don't need to like tap, you can just hold gently the areas. And the brilliant benefits is that it calms them down and it calms you down at the same time. So as long as they're not in too much of a state, you don't want to try and tap on a really aggravated baby, but it can be really helpful anytime to soothe. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Do you know why that how that works? That that actually works when you're tapping on someone else?
Yeah. So, well, human beings are brilliant at being able to soothe each other. So how it works precisely, there's not enough money behind the industry, or there hasn't been enough money behind an industry to exactly find that out. So unfortunately, with a lot of the holistic or practices, there's not as much money proving things and understanding exactly why they happen. However, from a neuroscience point of view, human beings are trained, or not trained, we've evolved to respond to each other's feelings. So if someone in my tribe thousands of years ago was in a state of fight or flight, I would react. My body would automatically react before my brain's even worked out what's happening. And that meant that the person who's reacted, I could make sure that they're okay and calm them down. but also if they were going to turn on me, I'd be ready and I'd be able to run away. So in the same way that we can respond to each other's fight or flight, we also respond to each other's soothe systems. So if someone's calmed down, then it calms everyone else down as well. So that is, from a neuroscience point of view, why I feel that it works. But also, yeah, I think human beings are just magical beyond what we can actually, what we know is, and what we've been able to prove. So
Absolutely. And I love how you explained it, and thank you so much for doing that. Is it possible that if you can soothe people, if your soothing can be almost contagious, can we say the same about anxiety?
yeah, absolutely. So if we were to use it in the way that I think you mean, is that if we're also in a state of anxiety, that can cause anxiety amongst those around us. Like, imagine what it takes if someone's in a really stressed mood for you to be able to not take that on when you're living with them and you're around them all the time. So part of the reason why I'm so adamant and love doing this work, and I think it actually came from because I wanted to be a doula myself, and I will do the training at some point. But during the pandemic, what I noticed is that there were babies being born into lockdown, and they were not being around the regular, not normal, there's no normal, but they weren't being around the regular number of people that they would normally be around. I had my niece was born at the time and we were able to see her, but you know, we have a massive family that still haven't met her yet, so she's maybe not as used to crowds as maybe another baby would be, but also that there was so much anxiety and stress and mental ill health at that time that was then affecting babies being in lockdown. So for me, I would notice that a lot of kids weren't able to talk as much, or just like going through a lot more stress and or just experiencing what their parents were experiencing. I think babies are very intuitive. They have to be, because it's the only thing they have. They can't communicate, they can't tell you what's wrong, so they just feel and respond. So for me, I love this work because I know, well, for many reasons, and I'm sure we'll go into it today, but for many other reasons, that babies pick up on how we feel. So if we can calm ourselves down, then that automatically helps them.
So, Ifalase, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom so far.
You're welcome.
You've been so lovely to show us, actually, and I think this will be so much appreciated by everyone, to actually like see it, not just listen to it, but since it's a video podcast, they can look at it, they can look at you and me. Yeah. And I think this is very, very helpful. Well, Ifalase, thank you so much for today. I am so grateful that you came on today to talk to us about.
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
And with all that amazing work you do, please tell us, where can people find you? Where can people reach you?
Yeah, lovely. So I founded Urvara Retreats, so they can find me at Urvara. I'll pop a link in to share with you, and that's my website. So I offer one-to-one EFT sessions, coaching, and also do group sessions as well online. But my love is in retreats as well. So I have a retreat running in the UK, in the Garden of England, in October. That's this year, if you're listening to it this year, for women who are on that journey of overcoming those feelings and wanting to make space for something more and really tap into their feminine powers. So that's where you can find me. And otherwise, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for listening. And yeah, enjoy. Feel empowered. I love it.
Let's get all empowered.
Absolutely. Thank you, Viviane. Thank you.
And that's it. Like I said, we're gonna tap on it. We did tap, literally. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit the subscribe button so me and you can share Ifalase's importance on EFT together. If you're a mama, a health coach, a spiritual healer, or like Ifalase, an EFT practitioner, and you have a story you'd like to share with me and the rest of the world, or you know of someone who has a story they'd like to share, I can be reached either via Facebook or LinkedIn under my name, Viviane Shima, or via my email address, which is birthbyviviane@gmail.com. So don't hesitate and reach out. I'll be waiting. That is it for me for now. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes. Bye.